History has been fraught with lures of wars, conflicts, annexations, assassinations, coups, and espionage. Even economic sanctions are not a new concept. Ideologies of the likes of capitalism, Marxism, nationalism, liberalism, or pretty much any ideology that has gained traction at any point in time or at any place has done so due to its ability to appeal to its followers. They have united individuals from within and at times divided them along their fault lines throughout human history as we know it. The very reality that we learn through our history books about a few explorers from small nation states in modern day Europe going around the world in search of new lands, more resources, and opportunities, who end up destroying the native ecosystem, culture, economy, beliefs, and even civilization of the foreign lands that they touched, or better known as colonialism. Now, why am I talking about all these seemingly unrelated things? That is because all of this has one factor in common. It is the desire to survive. Today, we will learn about the human desire to control one's surroundings with examples from history that show the consequences of this behavioral trait when it becomes an obsession. Moreover, we will understand how and why all beings have this trait and how it manifests in action and what we can do in our capacity to use it to our benefit for the future. There are only a very few things that you find common between the actions of any being. In fact, the actions of every being that has ever existed or exists today are subject to its environmental circumstances. However, the zeal to keep existing, influencing and reproducing, or furthering your kind drives human behavior beyond what you might actually think. Yes, it is not just us who want to survive or simply love living or not dying. Even animal behavior is based on the same principle: survival. In fact, it is visible in the most raw form. However, humans being humans have taken survival to a different level altogether. Come, let's understand how and why. The desire to persist and influence is what has led to all the wars, conflicts, and even peace treaties. The creators or followers of different ideologies look to influence more and more people. It can be understood that leaders and proponents of any political or social group or ideology or cause aim to gather support in order to find more like minded people. Even this search for like minded people is not new. Humans have always teamed up with each other for a common cause. We were able to civilize simply because we were able to organize ourselves into groups with a common motive, that is survival. That motive, just like humans, has evolved and we have moved on from simply being able to survive to goals like exploring outer space, exploring new lands, observing and understanding our surroundings and the universe, scientific and technological development, medicine and surgery, business and economy, and whatnot. But from the need to survive to making an artificial sun on the surface of the earth, one thing has remained constant: the need to control and influence resources and one's surroundings. Yes, we have advanced at an unprecedented pace. We have come much farther from where we were as a species when we started. However, this has not come without our unforgivable disasters committed onto each other and the environment that we sustain in. We have unleashed wars, not only the military kind, but biological and chemical wars, coupled with ethnic cleansing and conversions as well, that have wiped out entire civilizations and cultures. The European explorers, for example, brought smallpox to the continent of North America and used it as a weapon against the natives to take control over their territory and resources. There are plenty of videos out there that explain in detail how the northern continent of America was colonized and eventually became the USA, Canada, and Mexico of today. All the wars that have been fought have all been based on either influencing resources or humans or both. All of this is rooted in the very subtle yet strong need to control and influence. The inherent desire of humans to control their surroundings and resources can be traced back to fundamental aspects of human nature and survival instincts. It is a multifaceted aspect deeply ingrained in our evolutionary history, and it shapes individual and collective behaviors, impacting social structures, resource distribution, and the overall trajectory of human development. Moreover, it continues to influence how we interact with our surroundings and each other, driving both positive and challenging aspects of human existence. This behavior evolved over time as a crucial adaptation. Early humans who effectively controlled essential resources like food and shelter had a higher chance of survival and passing on their genes to the next generation. Hence, the phrase coined by Herbert Spencer and adopted by Charles Darwin, the survival of the fittest. This instinct played a pivotal role in the development of agriculture and settlement, enabling humans to secure a stable food supply and protect themselves from external threats. As societies progressed, the desire for resource control contributed to the formation of social structures and power dynamics. Wars and conflicts throughout history often stemmed from competition for limited resources such as land, water, spices, and valuable materials. The need to control these resources fueled territorial disputes and led to the rise of empires and colonialism. Those who could expand their influence and control resources had a strategic advantage in ensuring their community's prosperity. In fact, if you observe closely, even the two world wars, the Cold War, and even the conflicts that are taking place today, like the Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Hamas war, civil wars in the Central African Republic, Mozambique, Cameroon, etc., and military coups in Myanmar and Sudan are all manifestations of this very behavioral characteristic of human beings. The latest to join the list is the USA, which has voiced its desire to assimilate Canada and Greenland to gain access to the Arctic. We have covered the Arctic in another series on our geopolitics podcast. The link to the same is in the description. At times, this characteristic reflects in group behavior that gets shrouded with a so-called larger motive or goal, because instead of an individual ethos, that cause now has a social or political ethos. None of this is right or wrong, and the judgment really depends on the nature, history, and modus operandi of the individuals or groups doing it, and must be understood as such. Colonialism, driven by the desire to control and exploit new territories and resources, became a historical manifestation of this instinct. Nations sought to secure economic advantages, asserting dominance over other societies. However, it's essential to note that while resource control has played a significant role in human history, it is not the sole factor behind all conflicts or aspects of human behavior. Cultural, ideological, and political factors also contribute to the complexity of human interactions. But even these factors originate from certain beliefs and practices that people form through shared experiences. These practices, including superstitions and even religion, according to them, are what help them best in survival, thereby stemming from the same issue that is at hand for this episode. On the other hand, this eternal desire to survive has also spurred technological advancements and innovations. The quest for efficiency in resource utilization has led to the development of tools, agriculture techniques, and industrial processes, further influencing the trajectory of human civilization. In certain cases, these developments escalate into conflicts and wars because everyone wants their hands on what helps increase their chances of survival. The impacts of resource-driven conflicts extend beyond immediate human consequences, affecting ecosystems and the environment. But one may ask, why go through all this at all? And why and how did we develop this behavioral trait in the first place? Why does survival require controlling our surroundings at all? Well, the answer to this quintessential question lies within the biggest fears of all, the fear of uncertainty. The human desire for control is deeply rooted in fear of uncertainty. The instinct to control resources and surroundings is at its core a strategy to mitigate the unpredictable nature of the environment. Early humans faced constant threats such as scarcity of food, harsh weather, and potential predators. In response to these uncertainties, the drive to control resources emerged as a survival mechanism. Controlling the environment provided a sense of security and predictability. It allowed early humans to ensure a stable food supply, protection from the elements, and a better chance of survival for themselves and their offsprings. This need for control can be understood as a response to the anxiety and fear associated with the unpredictable aspects of the world. As societies evolved, this fear of uncertainty translated into a broader desire for control in various aspects of life, including social structures, territories, and resources. The establishment of order and reduction of unknown variables became ingrained in human behavior as a means to cope with the uncertainties of the world. Therefore, the human desire for control is an adaptive response to the fear of uncertainty, aiming to create stability and security in an unpredictable environment. This fundamental aspect of human psychology is what has influenced the development of civilizations, shaping both individual behaviors and collective societal structures. In contemporary times, understanding and managing this innate drive for resource control is essential for fostering global cooperation and sustainable development. Addressing issues related to resource distribution, environmental sustainability, and social equity becomes paramount in steering humanity towards a more harmonious coexistence. Recognizing the historical underpinnings of this instinct allows us to navigate the challenges of the present and build a more equitable and sustainable future. After all, that is what we actually need to do to be able to persist. In the modern era, the global interconnectedness of societies has added a new layer to the dynamics of resource control. Economic competition, driven by the pursuit of resources and wealth, is a defining feature of international relations. Nations engage in trade, diplomacy, and alliances to secure access to essential resources, creating a complex web of interdependencies. This phenomenon is also known as globalization. Additionally, advancements in technology and communication have provided opportunities for collaboration and peaceful resource management. Global initiatives addressing climate change, sustainable development goals, and conservation efforts reflect a growing awareness of the need for responsible resource utilization. While the historical instinct of resource control has been a driving force in human development, contemporary challenges demand a nuanced and cooperative approach. Striking a balance between individual and collective interests, fostering international cooperation, and implementing sustainable practices are crucial steps toward addressing the root causes of resource-led conflicts. To summarize, the inherent need to control resources and surroundings, ingrained in human nature for survival, has shaped our history and influenced the course of civilizations. While it has been a catalyst for both progress and conflict, understanding and managing this instinct are vital for steering humanity towards a more sustainable and cooperative future. We hope that through this episode of No Man's Land podcast, you understood or learned something new about human behavior and psychology, and this information will help you better understand the world around you. We believe that this knowledge will, in its own way, help you survive. Thank you for tuning in. See you in the next one. Jai Hind.